What's going on, everybody? Few minutes late. I am sorry. Please let me know if the video and audio is working for you. Just trying to get things rolling. And oh my gosh, there's so many comments already. And 5 minutes late now. He has to go till 11. Uh, I'll tell you why I was late here in just a second. And I can hear myself on the other cameras. I get those added. But hopefully everything's working. Skull Aquatics says everything's good. Good to see everybody. I don't know. Did I get I think I got the title. It's Friday Night Live. And if you guys noticed or didn't notice, in the description it says I'm selling everything. And that's another reason why I was a few minutes late. So, I keep going back and forth on selling my house, buying a new house. I keep wanting a house that has more of a backyard, not only for my dogs, but for maybe a pond or something like that. Right now, the market's just so hot in my neighborhood that I can basically wipe after paying off. If I sold my house, I could pay off the mortgage, pay off all the debts I have currently, and still pocket a decent amount of money. Uh, so I decided to make that a goal. And it's just been so overwhelming thinking about trying to move with all the fish tanks and all the stuff I've accumulated over the last 30 years of just stuff. Um, and I decided to just chip away at it. So I'm starting to go through like the garage and selling off some tools I don't use, stuff that I don't really need, um, and going through and figuring out what to do with all these fish tanks. So the process of selling the house won't be hard. The market's so hot here that I could sell it. I should be able to sell it pretty quickly. Pretty much everything's selling within like 2 days of being posted, if not even quicker. I know my neighbor across the street, their house sold like in hours. Um, the process of buying a house on my part will be harder because you got to find the right house, and then you got your 30 days. Um, and I don't want to jump the gun and find a house and be like, all right, and trying to work a contract where like I'm staying in this house until I can close on the next house. Like I just want to be free and clear, and then save up some money and put more money down on what I want. So my plan is to chip away at getting rid of stuff around here. I've mentioned this before. Um, Let me get that off. I'm not doing hard goods anymore. So what you see is wherever all this stuff. I'm not resupplying um, any hard goods to get rid of the inventory. Once inventory is done, then I can get the slap walls down and start cleaning things up. As far as fish tanks and stuff like that go, I'm gonna have to sell. Pretty much will be selling everything. Might keep this 55 because I really like this tank. Um, my CPD tank, which is featured to the side, whichever side over here, I'll probably keep that tank. But everything else I'll probably sell, including the 200-gallon cube and the 250 sump tank. Um, I don't know what the next house will have as far as abilities for those tanks. The cube tank can't really fit in this house anyways. It would have to go in the garage. But I'm thinking the more cash assets I have coming to buy a new house, the better. I was looking at apartments. So I was like, all right, if I sell my house, I can get into an apartment and do a short-term lease, like 6 months, something like that. But the issue I'm having is Havana. So every apartment I've looked at will not allow pit bulls, and Havana's awesome, but and then half of them have like a 30-pound dog limit, so that even puts Charlotte out. Um, so I'm not sure what I'm gonna do as far as that yet. I might be able to do a condo like sublease off somebody of that nature, but that's down the road. I don't know when this is going to happen. The first steps is just to start downsizing basically what I got. So fish, yesterday, I believe I put on the website, fish are no longer being sold in groups. So it was like groups of 3 catfish or groups of 3 danios, or whatever the case would be. Now they're single fish. It's just a little bit easier to track the remaining fish I got. And so if you've been looking for, maybe like one albino Corydora instead of buying three, you can do that right now. It's on the website that way. There's still some fish that are like pairs. The Vienna guppies are as a pair. And then if you guys are subscribed to the email, you would saw that I sent out an email about selling a pair of Vienna guppies with like 5 or more fry with free shipping for a set price. That's still going on. And I think that's really the only fish I have right now that are set up not as a single fish. I think all the rainbow fish have been sold. The last rainbow fish I sold were the Parkinsoni, the last pair I had. But yeah, so I'm going to get in the chat and see what I missed. Jupiter 1 was the first one here, and they were here at 7:33, so half an hour early, and I was 5 minutes late. So yeah. But I don't know where. So I live, we'll just call it Columbus, Ohio. Really in a suburb. Pretty much I want to be outside of the city. And anything near the city right now is just extremely inflated on pricing. I know I'm going to make a ton of money on my house, but that means everybody else is making a ton of money. So if I wanted to drive an hour to work, then I can get a decent deal, but I don't want to drive an hour to work. So realistically, I want to keep everything under a half an hour. But the market right now is just, it's crazy. I'm sure it's crazy a lot of places, but it's super crazy here. So I'm just trying to, keep my eyes open, but really the first steps is just to, because I could probably, even with all my stuff here, I could sell the house and be like, all right, hire a moving company and get out. But having 60 fish tanks is going to be an issue for somebody. They're going to see 60 fish tanks in here and be like, all that water in the house, like the house is damaged. I don't know. But people aren't going to want to see all these fish tanks. So as the fish sell out, I will be breaking down tanks. And then I'm probably going to be selling tanks for $1 per gallon. So if anybody's local, the 10s, the 20s, 29s, all that will be for sale. And then when I break down the pond, I will probably sell the 500-gallon pond, the video you guys saw earlier in the week. And there's an update to that video. So that video, there was a lot of comments on it about I should have showed the fish. And I filmed, I forget what day that came out. Let's say it was Monday. That day I caught fish out of the pond and filmed it. That video has been edited. It's been on YouTube for a couple days now. It comes out on Sunday. So on Sunday, the pond update video, there's an update to that update. So it's called the Pond Update Revisited. So that will be out here pretty soon. Uncle Steve's Neighborhood Garage. That's my buddy Steve. I talked to you guys about last week. You can stay in Sonora's room. So Steve, I actually looked at your apartments and they have breed restrictions on dogs. So I did look at Steve's in actually like a really nice, I guess it's apartments or townhomes outside of town. But I did look at that this week, but they do have breed restrictions. I was going to move to Wooster, Ohio. Things didn't work out. Super nice area, but too far from you think. Yeah, Wooster's like 2.5 or 3 hours from me. So that's not going to work. What dogs? Yeah. I feel like between a pit bull and a Dalmatian walking together, people are going to notice. But yeah. Making coffee, nope, not tonight. I actually was thinking about it. So this is water, ice water. And as I was pouring the water in here, I looked at the coffee maker. I'm like, oh, coffee sounds really good. But I actually have somebody coming tomorrow morning to buy some fitness equipment. And I got to run up to work in the morning because a coworker's buying some things off of me, or a thing. if you know what I mean. I don't want to mention that stuff on my live stream, but he's buying some stuff from me. And with the Facebook Marketplace, I don't know how well this is going to go. I got, people are jumping on. So I'm basically pricing stuff like to get rid of it. And I looked at it, like there's a couple things that I was just going to throw away. I had this old Bluetooth speaker. It's like 10 years old. I was just going to toss it away, but I'm like, you know what? It's a Snap-on. Steve, do you want a Snap-on Bluetooth speaker? I was going to list it for $5 on Marketplace, but I'm like, I don't even know if it's worth dealing with people. Because everybody, even for $5, somebody's going to try to haggle me down to $1 or something stupid. But we'll see how it goes. So if you're in Central Ohio and you're looking for a 200-gallon acrylic tank or a 250, I will be listing those here soon. A coworker might be buying my welder from me, and that was something where I'm like, I'll always need a welder, but I don't have a problem selling it. As long as I get what I want out of it, I don't have a problem selling it, because I wouldn't mind buying a bigger welder to do more things with it. So if it's something I know I could use over and over, which a welder is one of those things, then I would keep it. But knowing that I wouldn't mind having a bigger one, I wouldn't have a problem selling it, as long as I, don't get the shaft on it. I won't be at the tailgate tomorrow. So tomorrow he's talking about, so our buddy Jason has a tailgate spot at Ohio State for Ohio State football. It's a ton of fun. It's like a legit, like multiple tents, like when it starts getting really cold, they have this heating unit that's built for like an office. It's like what you see on top of the roof of an office building. They have one of those that they mounted to a trailer, and it's got like this 3-foot wide duct that pumps heat into their tents. So when it's like late November and you're there for a football game and it's like 20 degrees outside, the tents stay like, I was going to say 80 degrees. When that heater's rocking, it could be 80, but we'll say it's like 60s, which makes it super comfortable when it's, below freezing out. I'll message you about the cube tank. We want it. Yeah. So I don't have a set price on it. I know I'll be at least asking what I paid for it. It's a cube tank and a stand. And there's a video. If anybody's interested, there's a video. You'll have to look back probably about a year ago when I got the tank from Ohio Fish Rescue. I did a video on it because it was interesting. I got the Ohio Fish Rescue. I got the van I use stuck in Ohio Fish Rescue's driveway because it was snowing and the van had no traction. That was when Haley from Oddball Aquatics went with me to help me get it back home and unload it. So, yeah. I've seen that tank full. It's a good tank. Yeah, it's super nice tank. It's one of those things where if I'm playing, so the reason why I'm trying to sell a bunch of stuff off is because I know I'll have to get a storage unit for like my furniture and like some, the bigger things. And the less stuff I have, the smaller the storage unit I can get, which means more money I can save, and just less stuff I have to move, to be honest. So it'd be sweet if I can get this down to like not smaller truck, but like a regular size U-Haul, and not have to get like a semi truck to move my house, because I have a lot of stuff. I'm going to be selling a couple pieces of furniture that I don't really use. I have this like entertainment stand that's in my bedroom that I bought when I first moved out with my parents years and years ago. I don't really use it because my TV's up on the wall now. So I used to keep my TV on it, but now the TV's on the wall. So it's just kind of it's a nice entertainment stand that I don't have use for. So I'll probably list it for, I don't know, $40 and see what nightmare that is to sell that. But we'll see how it goes. I'm starting all this weekend with selling stuff. And back to Steve about the tailgate. So I won't be at the tailgate tomorrow. So I got to run to work and first thing in the morning. I got to hopefully meet this person. Not meet this person. hopefully this person shows up tomorrow. That's buying some things. And then I'm going to my sister's house for the football game. Because if I was trying to tailgate, I'd want to get there early. I don't know what time, 8 or 9 in the morning for sure. Like no later than 9 because it'd be impossible. And I just got too much stuff going on in the morning to be able to do that. So tomorrow's football game, I'll be watching from my sister's house. Dude, you won't have enough room for all the crap I got. I'll just be honest. So let's talk about fish. So honestly, I'm not planning on taking fish with me because I don't know how things are going to end up, and therefore I'm going whatever's listed on the website I'm going to be selling, and then the things that I have that aren't on the website I'll be selling. So I'll probably sell the Barbados, which is the bearded cories. That's the video that was over here last week. I'll probably be selling that breeding group. So if somebody's interested in the Barbados cories, it's a proven breeding group. I'll be selling those. I don't know if I saw Matt in here tonight, but I'm sure he'll be messaging me after he sees this video, which I'm kind of surprised he's in here. I see Matt. So I'll be selling those. The community tank, which you see up here in the top corner, those fish were all rescued fish one way or another. So if you're in Central Ohio and you're looking for any of those fish, I'll give those to you. I can ship them if somebody wants to pay for shipping. There's giant Danios, the pink kissing gourami, and 2 fancy goldfish. There might be, I'm trying to think, there's probably a couple red-eye tetras in there too. The CPDs I'm going to take to my aunt's house. She's got 3 of these. I'm going to give her the other 3 so that way she has the group of 6 back. I'm trying to think what else. I'll probably end up having to do something where, like, if you're interested in trying to breed like super reds, I'll cut you a deal and you buy all my super reds for X amount. I'll pull all the ones I can. And also the brilliant bristle nose. That breeding group, I don't know who's going to want to buy it because they're not going to be cheap. I'll just say that right now. They're not going to be cheap. They're somewhere between 10 and 12. I forget exactly how many adults there are. But I'll probably be selling those too. All right, let me register my son's dog as a service dog and has doctor write him a note. Apartment complex had to let him keep the dog. That's a good idea. Steve, I'll save that speaker for you. And you can't say howdy all because I always say howdy. Whenever I join someone's chat, I always type howdy. So you can't be doing that. That's my thing. I would take the beard. Okay, I think I'm catching up to the chat. Nope, just kidding. It just jumped. I think StreamYard's a little bit slower than like YouTube Live because all of a sudden like 10 chats just showed up at once. So let me go through those. Oh boy, tempting. I know. It's tough. I'll probably reach out to the local club about this breeding group. Somebody actually I know somebody that's interested in those. They actually wanted this breeding group and I got to them first. And they messaged me for like the first year I had them about if I would sell them like just a pair off of there or whatever. So yeah. All right. So I'm trying to think what's new this week. Is I mean the house things. I guess the biggest thing new. Um, Nothing really new other than I filming the pond update, which will come out like I said on Sunday. Hmm. Nothing crazy. Weather's been awesome this week. It's not been hot. It's been humidity free. It's just been awesome. Super awesome. IHSP said, I'd rather have a house with a yard, hence the reason I got on my apartment as soon as I could. Yeah, so I'm going I'm going to have to probably get into like an apartment or something for I'm guessing a few months, and I just hate thinking I'll be in an apartment, but to transition to the house I actually want, sacrifice, I guess. But we'll see. My sister said I can come live with her, which is a possibility. But the downside is that her homeowners association doesn't allow fences, so you have to walk the dogs. And I'm always terrible about getting up in the morning and getting to work on time, so I can only see trying to walk Havana and Charlotte every morning before work and trying to get them to do their business, and I think that would just be a little too much. Susan's here. Hey, Susan, good to see you. But I would ideally like to find something with like at least an acre. I wanted 5 acres or more, um, but the pricing, like even a half an hour away, is still pretty crazy. But I did notice that there was a house that's going on auction. I think somebody passed away and they didn't have family to take over because it's not just like a foreclosure auction. It's like an auction on the house, and then immediately after they're auctioning off all the personal items. So there's like furniture and like beds and all that stuff. But the price is like the price of my house, but it's on 22 acres. I was like, that would be pretty sweet. But by the time I sell this house, this it's going to be months from now that that house is going to be long and gone. But the next house will be there, so just have to wait and find what's right. Mystery Snail Guardians. And what's funny is there's Mystery Snails in the 75. I don't see any. Actually, there might be one right by the Nubius plant on the glass. I can't tell if that's what that is or not, but maybe rent your house out. So I thought about that, but to buy a new house, I need a lot of money, and I don't have a lot of money. By a lot of money, it's because of the money down. To buy the house, I really, at least 20%. I would like to do like 40% down. I don't have the funds to be able to get a second mortgage, like a new mortgage on a new house, and keep this house. So I have to sell this house. Um, and the amount that these houses are going for is I'm getting close to doubling the price of this house, doubling of what I paid for it. So I'm getting close. So that's really the reason I'm like, all right, let me take advantage of this market before this market bursts, and make some profit and get what I want. Because the biggest thing is I want some of the bigger backyard. I don't know if you guys pay attention to my videos when I'm filming the pond. It's my back door. There's the pond, and then you can see the fence. That's my backyard. So I mean, it goes the length of the house, but I want something where you can go out the back door and throw a football. So, but I did think about renting, but that's just not really an option to rent this. Keep paying the more. Well, I would. The renters would be basically paying the mortgage here, but I don't have the funds to get a $300,000 loan for a new house, and that's pretty much how much everything is right now. Anything with like an acre is at least 300,000. and up, or it's a piece of crap. I noticed the ones that are like cheaper, and by cheaper, they're still like 250,000 dollars. Um, they're being sold as is, and like I noticed, like one of the house was oil heat, and I'm like, definitely no. Like I'm not even trying to do propane heat. Like I want to be on natural gas. Um, I don't want to deal with propane, and there's nothing wrong with propane. I just don't want to deal with budgeting for propane, and if you run out, then you got to do the emergency, bring out propane. I don't want to deal with that. I just want to be on natural gas, and it's cheaper. So when I saw like oil, I'm like, definitely hard no. I know a girl with a huge backyard. I don't know if that's in reference to a person or if you really know somebody with a huge backyard. And I don't know if backyard is supposed to be backyard or back end. I'm sorry, Wilma. I'm sorry, Wilma. Jeremy, good to see you. I think GB, good to see you. I almost missed you. Fish and Floral, good to see you. Chevy Fish, always good to see you. One of the things that looking at, if you get on like Zillow and you start just like almost daydreaming about some of these houses that are for sale, once you realize where your market is, the market here in Central Ohio is stupid expensive. If I went 2 hours away, like it's crazy. You get double the house, double the property for the same price. What's funny is I've never seen Trailer Park Boys. I know everybody says I need to see it because it's hilarious, but I've never seen Trailer Park Boys. Maybe one day I'll start that series. I don't know if it's on Netflix or Hulu or what, but 2-bed, 1-bath, 1,200 square foot, going for 250 plus. Yeah, so Zillow is, I think, estimating my house at like 250 to 260 right now, and it's just going up because a few months ago it was 240, and a year ago it was 220 or 210. It's possible that in 3 months it'll be 280, and a year it could be 300. I don't know, but I feel like eventually it's going to peak, and then I don't want to miss out. So the other thing that's really appealing to me about it is being debt free. Like if I'm debt free, don't owe a bank a single penny, and then whatever I'm working and making, that's just, I don't know, that kind of speaks to me about not owing anybody anything until I buy another house, and then I owe somebody money. But this house I put down like the bare minimum I had to put down. I didn't do 20% because when I bought this house, I just didn't have money. And I know from like paying mortgage insurance now, which is something stupid. If you don't pay 20% down, you got to pay the bank extra money a month to make sure you pay your money up. To me, it's silly. But so I want to do 20% down, which depending on how much the house is, could be a lot of money, or at least 20% down. But Steven said, I only have like 30 or so guppies getting used, taking the best care of them. Want to be sure I can take care of them if they're in a pond. Ponds are awesome for guppies. Here in Ohio, they don't overwinter because, well, I guess it depends on your pond. If it's in the ground pond, doesn't freeze solid, then you can overwinter them if the water's warm enough. I've heard of people getting guppies like in the 50s for sure. I don't know if they go in the 40s. I'm sure they probably don't like 40s. If you can keep the pond in the 50s, you can overwinter guppies. What I do is I just take them out in the fall. So once it starts getting like nighttime, I'm not too concerned about temperatures. It's when the daytime is no longer warming up the pond. I don't heat the pond or anything like that, so that's why I have to pull them for sure. But typically, night times when it's like lower 40s and daytime it's like only in the 50s, that's when I start pulling the fish, and then I move them indoors. So I usually set up a tank, which there's a 1 10-gallon tank in my kitchen, which is the guppies from last winter. It was my tequila sunrise guppies, and they're in my kitchen still. So those, I need to sell those. I have a ton of guppies I'll have to sell. But yeah. I think ideally 5 acres would be sweet. But every time I find like 5 acres, it's either really overpriced or like the property is just really the property lines suck. Like so you got like 5 acres to me would be like just give me a rectangular plot of land that's 5 acres, but a lot of them around not around here, but where I'm looking, it's like you have 5 acres, but your neighbor's house is still like right next to you. Like I'm not trying to have all that. I want to be able to light a car on fire and not catch the neighbor's house on fire at the same time. That's the goal too. If you're in California, you can probably keep them in a pond year round. Um, I don't know how cold it gets in Carolina, California, but I'm guessing it doesn't get super cold. So you can probably keep them year round. Worst case, you could probably toss like a small heater in there. But yeah, I would say you can keep them year round, and any fish does awesome in a pond. And mainly that's just because of natural food sources as far as mosquito larvae and the microfauna, all those bugs that end up in a pond. They just go to, it's like a hometown buffet for them. So that's why they do so well. A 1 acre pond would be cool. Yeah, my parents, they had 15 acres and they had a 1 acre pond. It was pretty sweet. My dad dug the pond out he bought a bulldozer and like dug the pond himself. And what's cool is it wasn't just like a hole in the ground. He did like different depths to the pond. So if certain fish like to be 15 feet deep, they could be 15 feet deep. If they like to be 3 feet deep, they could be 3 feet. But when he first dug it and had all these hills, I used it as like a little dirt bike track. I had this little dirt bike when I was growing up, and it was like a little motocross track in this acre pond, and that was a ton of fun. And then the next year, it filled up with water once it rained, but tons of fish. My dad had it stocked. I think it had like largemouth bass, catfish, hybrid bluegills. It was this hybrid they got really big, but they didn't reproduce as crazy as fast as some of the other bluegills. But I mean, they were massive, huge. I mean, bigger than any fish I got, bigger than the kissing gourami for sure. And those were a ton of fun to fish for. Mini fish farm would be better. So, wow, what I guess would kind of be a dream would be to have a pole barn and do indoor ponds. So I can't do an outdoor pond farm here because of winters. But if it was indoors in an insulated building and then provided still have heat, I could do a bunch of ponds. So like the 500-gallon pond I have out back, I could just do a ton of those or even bigger. So I think having a pole barn for the fish room would be sweet. At minimum, I want a house with a basement, and that way I can do like a full basement fish room versus like one room in my house that I have now. And then with the basement, I could do bigger things with it. But I think I would definitely prefer to have more ponds than the smaller tanks. Because if I was doing the line breeding with a 500-gallon pond, it'd be super sweet. It's ponds. The downside to a pond is that it's top view, so you can't really see a whole lot. You gotta catch the fish out to monitor what the fish are doing. They do sell those ponds that have their above ground ponds. It's like what I have now, but they have a clear window on the front. I know Oddball Aquatics just got one or two of them now. That's pretty cool. I think what I would do is just build plywood ponds and then put glass viewing panels in them. I think you'd be better off served with an ICF building over a pole building for keeping warmth in winter. Honestly, I don't know. I've heard of ICF, but I don't know what that is. ICF building. I think that's like the foam blocks. Yes. I actually just watched a video on this. There's a guy that's building a house using these. He's doing an all concrete house. Like, I don't know how he's doing it. It's a series that he just started. He just did the foundation, but he's doing like concrete walls, floors, and the roof. So that would be interesting to see how he does it. But it's honestly, it'll probably come down to cost, whatever will be cheaper. Because with a pole barn, you know, if I can get a metal roof pole barn put up, and then spray foam insulate the walls, because I'd rather spray foam insulate the walls and the ceiling than use like fiberglass on a pole barn. But I'll give you a small corner in my 500 by 500 foot pole barn. A small corner, if you give me like 400 by 400, deal. All right, I think I'm caught up on the chats, guys. A lot of places I've heard houses are selling over asking price on a regular basis. Bidding wars, I'm guessing, going on. Yes. So that's how it's kind of going around here. And I would be ecstatic if somebody got into a bidding war. So my house, interior wise, is fully updated, I guess is the word. So this house was a flip house. I bought it off a flipper. They bought it completely gutted, floor to ceiling. I do have to do new carpet because Charlotte, as a puppy, chewed holes in my carpet. So I will have to do new carpet, which is not a huge deal. But that's another reason why I kind of, I'm looking towards getting like an apartment or something like that. So I can move out. This house can be empty, get new carpet put in, list it for sale, and bing, bang, boom, done. But new lighting fixtures. It's got all new windows. All these, where am I at? Over here, all these doors are all new. I'm sure, like, I probably had to repaint everything from putting holes in the walls, hanging up stuff, especially this room. I got all these slat walls put up. Painting's not a huge deal. All the toilets. So when I say new, it was new when I bought the house. So I've been here for 7 years. So they're 7 years old now, but they're all updated. Everything's at least modern. All the cabinets in the house are the soft close. So you can take a door and try to slam it, and it like whips shut until it gets like this far from closing, and then it stops and then gently shuts. And the same thing with the drawers. You can just like knock a drawer and it just gently shuts, which is funny because when I first moved in here, I thought that was the coolest thing, and then I got used to them. The problem is going to somebody's house that doesn't have soft close, you start slamming their stuff like it's like you're angry. And because I'm just used to like, because if you slide the drawer, like this is not like, so normally like I just do this, and then when it gets there, the cabinet shuts it like that, right? And then you can like go to slam it and it still stops and then just gently shuts. Well, if you do it too lightly, it doesn't suck itself closed. So I'm used to like shoving it hard. I'm sorry if that was loud. So when I go to somebody's house, I go to shut their cabinets and I slam them. So it's one of those things where I mentally have to like try to remember when I go to somebody's house not to slam all their cabinets. But anyways, Squirrel, all the cabinets and stuff, everything's new. I replaced all the lights with LEDs, so it's more efficient. Really, there's nothing I need to do on the inside. The downside to my house, I'm getting a new roof. I told you guys about that last week. I'm waiting on a check from insurance to come so I can get the roofers out here to do the new roof. So that'd be a bonus. New roof, and I had to replace the hot water heater. I think it was like a year after I moved in here or so. Maybe it was a couple years. So it's got like new hot water heater. But challenge accepted. Raheem, good to see you. The downside of my house is curb appeal. I'm not a landscaper. I don't like doing yard work. That's another reason I want 5 acres. Give me a tractor and I'm happy as can be. But like push mowing, like I'm a flat rate technician. I like to do stuff as quickly as possible. Push mowing is not the quickest way possible. My yard's too small to have like a lawn tractor. So you got to push mow it. I guess you get like a 0 turn, but it's not really needed. It's like a luxury. That'd be a luxury to have here, but it's not needed. But man, give me a tractor and I'll be happy. And I grew up. See, I think, I live in a suburb. I'm in a town. I'm surrounded by nothing but houses. But my parents having that 15 acres, I've used everything from a small garden tractor up to, we had this one tractor where the tires were as tall as me. They were 6 foot tall tires. We had a big tractor. It was a big turbo diesel case. But growing up with 15 acres, I learned a lot about farm equipment. And I'm not saying I want a farm, but 5 acres would be fun. So Mr. Metalhead says no mechanic likes doing yard work. Yeah, it's just not my thing. And so I thought about it. I'm like, I wonder if they have fake plants for your flower garden. Like, how they have fake aquarium plants. I'm like, they got to have fake plants like daisies or tulips, or I don't even know what kind of plants go outside. There's all those names, but I know, like, let's just say daisies, like fake ones. So you never have to water them. They always look fantastic. And then I started thinking about going down the wormhole. I'm like, oh, how crappy would that be though? Like all these bees come in to try to pollinate and they're fake. Like that'd be terrible. But I'm like, think no maintenance on your flowers. And then just come fall, you take them out of the ground, you throw them in like a tote or a trash bag until spring and go out and replant them. Or I guess you could just leave them year round, let the snow cover them. And hey, come spring, you got nice looking flowers again. Because I know they have fake lawns like AstroTurf. And I was like looking into that, not because I wanted, but just because it interested me. The first thing I saw was the way I got down that wormhole and little squirrel is out in Arizona or more arid climates, really dry. People's grass would always die. So there was this company that spray paints your lawn to make it green. And then that like had a YouTube video that said about AstroTurf lawns. And there's some lawns that look pretty sweet that are fake. I'm like, that's awesome. You never have to cut your grass. But yeah. No, she didn't. So my buddy Steve said Wilma. So that's his wife. That's her name's Brittany, but I call her Wilma because they call me Frank. Because this a long time ago, it was brought up that I looked like Frank from American Pickers. And then somehow, I don't even know how it started. I started calling Steve Fred because Fred and Wilma, I started calling his wife Wilma. She said that she was still watering like she'd had fake plan for 6 months. Oh, Wilma. She's going to kick your butt. Squirrel is correct. All right. Where am I at? I think I'm caught up again. So yeah, fish. If you guys pretty much know what I have. If you're interested in something I have, shoot me an email. I'm pretty much going to be selling everything. The tanks I think will take the longest because those will have to be local. I'll just have to get on the local fish club and be like, look, $1 per gallon. I know you can get a brand new one. Help me out. It's still great tanks. They're all like a year or two old. But we'll see. Or maybe I'll make deals if somebody wants to buy like 10 tanks. The fry rack, that's going to be probably the next thing that comes down because I think I only have a few rainbow fish in there that are small. So I'll move those out. I don't know where. Maybe into the fish room, and then that way I can break down the fry rack. If anybody's interested in those fry rack tanks, I don't know the gallons. I think they're like 3 gallons, 4 gallons. They're not very big, but they're pre-drilled with bulkheads. So if you want to set up your own fry rack, that'd be great. I'll be selling those. I think there's 9 of those tanks. I'll sell them with the bulkheads, but the nice thing is I take the bulkheads out and all those tanks are nestable, like they stack together, so I can ship them. So I'll probably be selling those. What types of shrimps available? I have. I got to put them on the website. I went to add them, and for some reason they're not available. Like the actual product, I have, let's say, 5 to 7 Amano shrimp. They're in my 25-gallon tank, which they lived with the pea puffer. Matt's got my pea puffer, but I had Amano shrimp with the pea puffer. He left them alone. So I'll have Amano shrimp, and then Blue Dreams. I think the Blue Dreams are on the website. I don't have a whole lot of those. I'll probably end up taking some with me because I can take the small little cube tank that's on the desk over here. You can't see it. I'll probably take that tank with me and take some Blue Dreams with me. Just to keep, because that Lucas Brett's Bee Dreams is what I bought. They're stunning, so I want to keep that line. But I still have some listed on the website for sale. Oh, wait. Yard work? That's what it's called when you do engine swaps in the yard. Yeah, having like a separate garage to be able to work on stuff versus like the main issue I have right now is I don't have a basement. So my storage room was my fish room. Since I turned that storage room into a fish room, all my stuff that you would think would be like in a basement or wherever is in my garage. So my garage is full of crap that I want to get rid of. But I think if I had a basement, I could at least organize stuff better. My 3rd bedroom right now is kind of a storage room too. It's got like the boxes for like Christmas decorations, or just holiday decorations in general. I got like some St. Patrick's Day stuff, Easter, Thanksgiving, stuff like that. And it's really the things that you don't think about until like you don't have room. And it's like I have a box of like wrapping paper, so like Christmas wrapping paper, birthday. It's got like the bows and tissue paper, that kind of stuff, bags. That's in a box, and just all that stuff adds up. And then the closet in that room is like my winter jackets and stuff, because that's all room that you don't have. Like, I guess you could, like, if you had a basement, you could put your winter clothes in a box, put it in the basement until winter, and then move it. But yeah. Ray Aquatic says, damn, I missed it. You selling all to move? What Pleco colonies do you have in the bad Corys? So I have Super Reds, the Brilliant Bristlenose, and as far as Corys, they're like breeding group, I have the Barbados Corys. They will all be for sale. So if anybody's interested in those, shoot me an email. It's sales@614fish.com. The Brilliant Bristlenose, I'm telling you guys right now, if you think, I don't want to sound like a jerk or anything, but if you think you're going to get them cheap, you're not. I know that sounds terrible, but nobody's got these going right now. Like, nobody. They're not for sale online. You can get on eBay. They're just not available. Being that I have a mature breeding group, they're going to be some money. But everything else, I'm selling reasonably. Thank you, Chevy Fish, for posting the email. Sales@614fish.com. Tiffany White, good to see you. Oh, man, if I could work from home, I would totally leave Ohio and go south. I don't know how far south I would go. Kentucky, Tennessee area. Kentucky's got some cheap land. So here, if you're trying to buy land only, I don't have 2 screens. So when I got that new video card, I had to get a new computer monitor. Well, I can only afford 1 monitor, so I don't have the 2 like I normally do. So I can't really screen share. But let's just say an acre of land, undeveloped land, is between $50,000 and up, depending on like exactly where around here you're buying. Tennessee, at least, or Kentucky, when I went down there with the horses like a year ago, I was on Zillow, and the area, granted, it was rural. There was no like major city nearby, so it's very backcountry. But it was like $1,100 an acre. Like for a price of 1 acre here, I could buy 50 acres. Not 50, but let's say 40 acres down in Kentucky. Like that's crazy. Tennessee would be sweet. I was talking to James from Fisher and Fever and Ed about that. Like, not about me moving down there, but talking about like being in Eastern Tennessee. I was talking to Ed because that crossed my mind, but because I was like, I figured Tennessee would be expensive, but he said no. Like, if you're not in Nashville, it's not bad. My cousin actually lives. Oh, I want to pull up Google Maps. I think not too far from Chattanooga. He's on the border. He's, I think, by Cleveland, Tennessee, if I remember right. I'm trying to remember. I've never been there, but I'm just trying to remember what my family said. I think he's by like Cleveland, which is not too far from Chattanooga. That would be cool. If I could work remote, I would do it. So Tiffany said, I'm guessing your job won't let you move toward here. So technically, I could quit my job and get a new job somewhere down there. I like where I work. I like my coworkers. I like my bosses. They treat us pretty good. So, like, I don't have a reason to leave. But being I'm a mechanic at the dealer, it's not like I could go, like, my dealer's a dealer. Like, it's one spot. So, I could go work for Audi in Tennessee, but I had to find a dealer down there. And then who knows? I'm sure they wouldn't treat us as good as they treat us up here. Not saying that they don't treat their people good, but we have it pretty good up here. Kentucky, Tennessee, and the Carolinas have awesome land. Yeah, I think Tennessee would be pretty sweet. I guess though, like one of the things would be is the ideal place for me would be like 70s or 80s year round with like no humidity. And I have a feeling Tennessee's weather is not much different than Ohio's, other than it's probably hotter. But I know like South Carolina is really nice. We have lots of fancy luxury cars here too. Yeah, see, I mean, cars aren't really something I want to do for the rest of my life, anyways. I mean, I would totally switch jobs, but I feel like moving out of state and trying to switch careers would be just too much stress for me. Be like way too many unknowns. Green, you never know if the grass is greener until you make that fence jump. But Matt, thank you so much for also posting sales at 614fish.com. Tennessee and Kentucky are actually a lot warmer than Ohio. Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, if it was warmer but humidity was less, cool. Like, like Arizona's hot, but at least the humidity is not like 95% like it's here. Yeah, if I could make the money I make now but live in Kentucky, I would totally move to Kentucky because the land was so much cheaper. But then the other things I thought of, I bet the internet, like where that land was $1,000 or $1,200 an acre, it was in the middle of nowhere. So I bet there's no internet. Definitely on, like, I don't want to say off grid utilities, but like wells, septic, propane heat, stuff like that. A lot less snow too. Snow doesn't bother me. I do not dislike snow. I like winter honestly more than summer, because in summer when you're hot and miserable, there's not much you can do about it. In winter, when you're cold, just add another layer of clothes. I like being cold. It's easier to to warm up than to cool down, I think. You know, yeah. So like right now, shorts and a t-shirt. If it's winter, sweatshirt, like done. But when it's too hot, it's just yeah. That's just me. Papa Shrimp, good to see you, Jerry. Hello and happy Friday. What type of career would you enjoy more? I have no idea. No idea. Probably something that's more salary based because ups and downs. With flat rate, you can have a really awesome month and be like, I got so much money, I have no idea what I'm going to spend it on. And then you can have a month where you're like, I'm so broke, I don't know what to do. I think a salary position would be sweet to where at least you can, I guess, budget what you're making. Um, flat rate, I mean, flat rate when it's good, it's great, but when it's bad. Um, I know last year, so I saw one of my coworkers. It was one of his worst years, and it was probably my worst year as far as hours or like pay, because the pandemic. You know, when we crashed at the beginning, it was hard to recover. But yeah, I don't know. Don't know what a career change would be. I'm good at a little. I'm good at a little bit of things. I'm good. How's that go? I know a little bit about a lot of things, so I feel like I could switch careers, but I don't know what it would be. Get your Corys on the website. Yeah, there is a search function. I did make all the fish appear on one page. So if you go to 614fish.com, click on freshwater fish. The only option now is all fish. And that will just show everything. I do have ram's horns as sold out because like a month ago, I had a ton of orders. I sold hundreds of these snails in like 1 month. So I'm trying to like let them gain back like popularity, but also I guess I need to just sell everything anyways. But panda cories, I think I only have 2 or 3 left. Same with the emerald cories. If you notice pricing, I redid some of the pricing. The emerald cories are $3. The panda cories are $5. The autosynkless are $4. Albino cories are $4. The Paliatus, which is the salt and pepper cories, they're $5. Green neon tetras, 3. I'm just running through that in case you guys are listening. You can hear these. Odessa barbs. I have 2 of them left. They're $3 a piece. And Odessa barbs are pretty sweet to look at. Oh, here's the deal of the day. The green gold laser corridors, which are the CD or CW009s or CW010s for $9 a piece. That's a steal. I feel like I probably paid more than that for each. And then trumpet snails, which I've been selling those pretty good. I guess I still got quite a few left. And then cichlids, convict cichlids, $2 a piece. Buy these things. I gotta get rid of them. It's crazy. Right when I thought I got rid of them all, there was more fry. But anybody looking for wonder shells or any of those products, just note that I won't be getting any more products in. So kind of shutting down the business because right now life is telling me that the house is more important than the business. The niece wants to be a welder. How'd you get into welding? To be honest, necessity. My dad had a welder, and he can weld. He's like certified and all that. He had a welder at home, and I needed to put a muffler on my car because my car, when I was 16 or 17, had no muffler. So I needed a muffler. So I literally grabbed the welding torch. Like I watched him do it, but I didn't know how to do it. Like I knew you grab the stick, you put the mask on, and you pull the trigger. I started with MIG welding. And I didn't want to like do it with my dad around. So I think my parents were out of town or something like that. So as soon as they left out of town, I grabbed the welder, and I grabbed a muffler, stuck it in the car, and I tried to weld it together. Technically, I welded it together, It was horrible welding. I mean, I'm telling you, it was horrible. But I physically got the muffler onto the car, and the car was quieter. It had all sorts of exhaust leaks because I didn't know welding. Um, but welding was one of those things where I did that. And I was so proud of myself. I got this muffler on. I welded it. Well, I was in the car, so I'm like, all my buddies that had these mufflers like to make their cars louder. I was like, yeah, I'll weld it on. We welded it, and like it looked like crap, but it was on. But the thing was, the more I did it, the more I learned. Like, okay, this, and I started with a really low end welder. We had this like Harbor Freight, like back in the day, Harbor Freight welder. It was like $100, I'm sure, brand new. Flux core, so it didn't have a welding gas. It's built into the wire, which is great for farm work. So if you're out and it's windy, you're in the field, flux core is great. It looks like crap, but it's great for that. If you want nicer welds, shielding gas wire is better. Um, where you have the gas tank, is what I'm trying to say. That makes a nicer looking weld. Once I got one of those welders, it was like, oh, I'm a master. I'm not a master, but I felt like a master welder at that point because I went from a really bad welder to a welder that was really, like, I don't want to say high end, but a really good welder. It made the job so much easier to do. And it was just like welding stuff after, like, one car after another, just learning more and more from practicing. And then I got pretty good at it. I'm not certified. I didn't go to school for it, just self taught. I can't stick weld. I've only ever tried it once, literally like one time, and I was like, "This is so stupid! Like a MIG welder is so easy. Like why wouldn't I do this?" I would like to get into TIG welding. TIG welding, I can do a lot more stuff, and it's super nice. You can do decorative like welding, it's like you're making furniture or whatever. Um, yeah, I like welding. It's dirty. It's dirty work. Anytime I'm welding something, I'm always more dirty than working on cars. I don't know what it is with, I guess, working with steel, like doing the steel stands for how fish rescue. Raw steel's gritty and greasy and dirty, and I always more dirty. And then like the smoke fumes get in your hair, and you take a shower and like, I just turned my white bathtub black. Like that's kind of fun though too. Watch the dirt stream from hard days worth of work. But how many green neons are left? I would guess somewhere around 6, if I had to guess. They hide really well, so I'm not exactly sure, but I'm guessing around 6. Jack of all trades, master of none. That was the next tattoo I wanted to get. I found this really cool. It was a playing card Jack, and he had all these hands coming out, and it was like a jack of all trades, master of none was written on it, but like it was like a camera, maybe like a trumpet. Like it was definitely someone artsy. I was like, man, change out the trumpet or whatever to like a welding torch, and like the camera could stay, because I took photography classes like through high school. I love camera stuff, doing videos, and I'm like, I could do like a ton of things that'd be pretty cool, but I never did it. Where am I in the chat? Chevy Fish with the link to the Wonder Shells. I'm trying to think. I have 3 sizes right now. There were 4. I have the small, which is the 3 shells, the large, and then like the super big ones. Why don't you start welding and fabrication business? I saw your work on OFR. I don't know what I would do as far as welding and fabrication. No idea. So I wouldn't mind doing big fish tank stands. With OFR, like when it comes to stands, like I always dealt with Josh. He has no problem paying. Like if I told him it was going to be $1,000 for a stand for a tank, he'd be like, "All right, cool. Like I'll pay that. Like that's worth it to me." when I did that Bellagio video, I had a lot of people contact me about building them stands for their tanks. And I don't think people realize it's not cheap to do fabrication. When it's fabricating stuff, it's not cheap, because like with fish tank stands, it's all one offs. Like I guess I could do like I can make fish tank stands for like a 75 gallon. Like if you bought like an Aqueon, I could do like a stand. Sure, I can fabricate that, and I can make a jig and make it relatively cheaper than the custom stuff. But like when people were talking, like I had somebody that wanted, I think it was a 700 gallon, or maybe it was a 600 gallon tank. Like I even designed it in CAD and everything for him to like give him an idea what it would look like. Well, right now it's the worst time to try to buy anything steel, because steel prices shot up because of the pandemic, just like lumber. Lumber shot up and steel stayed the same for a while, but now steel went up. Some designer stands. I don't know if designer stands are popular or not. Steel designer stands used to be super popular back in the day. I don't know if they still are. But that was something I thought about because my uncle owns a steel company here in my town I live in. It's like a 6-minute drive from here. That's where I got the steel for the Ovar stands. They do a lot of designer work. They do hand railings a lot. Their main business started off as a construction supply, like steel yard. So like when new buildings go up, the big I-beams, that's what they did. They supplied them and they manufactured whatever needed to be done, basically. And then they got into decorative steel work, doing like railings, and I think they do like some fencing stuff. But the railings are super impressive. They did railings, I believe, for the ex head coach of Ohio State. And I don't know, they do a lot of high end railings, and they're super nice. They were featured on, I forget what it was called. A coworker, well, old coworker of mine, actually had my uncle's steel company do railings in his house, not knowing it was my uncle, because they saw him on some TV show. It was like, where they tour houses or something. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, Zen Ginger, good to see you. Hi, guys. It's after 8 p.m. here, and I just finished doing homework with my kids. I'm over this crap. And the school year just started. Yeah, one of my ex-girlfriends lived with me. She had a kid, which obviously lived with me. And I remember doing homework every night. And the ADD or ADHD that was coming out made homework miserable some nights. Keeping her on task to do homework was difficult for sure. But no, going back to the tanks. So I quoted a tank for a guy. I think he was actually local to me, because I said I'd be able to deliver it if he was within like a 20-minute drive area. Like I just deliver it to him. If not, he needed to get like a truck. But I think people think like tank stands are going to be like $200, and like the steel alone was like $500 for the steel. And I don't think he was expecting it to be that much. But with the OFR stands, they paid for like materials and like stuff like that. And then I worked in like, hey, like I'll do the labor for like the glass panels, the 4-foot glass panels I got. We kind of trade labor and stuff for that. Sorry, my throat's pretty dry. But like the Bellagio stands, I lost my butt on that. I told him I could do it for whatever the price was. It should have been like 3 times as much, because that steel just chewed the blades I used to cut the steel. I probably went through 5 of those blades, and they were like $48 a piece just for the blades to cut it. And then welding, I ran out of welding gas. The welding wire was not as bad as I thought it would be, but the welding gas I ran out of. But the blades to cut that steel was crazy. But like to build, I mean, I enjoyed building those tanks or the stands because I built their 500 gallon, their 700, and their 1,000 gallon stand. And then the Bellagio's I just modified. I didn't like design that or anything. I just modified them. But the ones I actually built from scratch was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing those. And if I could make a living doing that for people, then I would. But the Bellagio stand sucked. I'll just be honest. It was horrible. Papa Shrimp, I forgot he was there for one of the weekends. So I was there 5 weekends in a row. I thought it was going to be a 1 weekend job. I thought I'd show up Friday night, just hanging out Friday night, start Saturday morning, be done by Sunday evening. No, it was horrible. Cutting the stands was horrible. Welding's not a big deal. I can weld pretty quickly. And none of that was, everything I welded was not structural. The top of the stands, which were made by Tanked, ATM, I believe is the actual company name. All I did was cut the tops off and cut the legs shorter and lower it down. The weight is on the legs. I just welded everything back together. That was not structural because there was people commenting about welding through paint and all that stuff and how it was horrible and it wasn't going to work. Well, guess what? It worked. Those tanks are like, oh, let me see if I can do this math. Can't remember exactly how much the acrylic weighed. I think the acrylic tanks were like, I was going to say 9,000 pounds empty. I don't know if that's right. But those, I think we were estimating the tank with water was between 16 and 18,000 pounds each. And guess what? They're A-okay. And the thing with welding through paint, yes, your surface should be cleaned before welding, but with especially with TIG welding, you really want it clean. MIG welding, something that's not structural, with the amperage kicked up so high. I mean, I was running my welder at max amperage it would run. Like it was tripping the breakers, so it was pulling 30 amps. And it inverts, so it's pulling 30 and outputs 140 amps. Anyways, that weld gets so hot that if you're welding, it's called a pool. I'm not trying to bore you guys, but you have a torch and you got a weld pool. Well, as you're welding here, it's so hot that the paint's melting off up here. Yes, it's technically could be a dirty weld because you have impurities, but with something that's not structural, the paint just burns off. So yeah, Zen said, "Oh, please, no more math today." Yeah, it was a lot. It was hot. I think the weekend Jerry was there, it was stupid hot. Stupid hot. 4th of July party. Yeah, it was just 2 weekends. It took more than 2 weekends to do those. I was there 5 weekends in a row. One of those weekends was doing the forklift. My buddy Mike's business donated one of their old forklifts to OFR. So I went to my friend's ranch, got their truck, rented a trailer, went got the forklift, drove it to Ohio Fish Rescue, and then I think I drove it back that night. And then drove it back that night, if I remember right. So that was one weekend. So the other 4 weekends were Bellagio tanks. So there might have been a weekend of something that wasn't. It was at least 3 weekends for sure of just fully working on those tank stands. It was a lot of work, but guess what? It's done, and those tanks look amazing. You worked your behind off at OFR. Yeah, that summer was a ton of work. It was just so hot. I just remember looking at Jerry, like even Jerry just like, oh, because it wasn't just the stands we were doing. Like the mistake I made was the first weekend they were having, I guess it was 4th of July or whenever it was. They had a bunch of people over because they were moving tanks around. Well, I was trying to help move tanks, and Big Rich kept saying, no, like, work on the Bellagio. And, like, so I start working, but then I see people struggling. I'm like, oh, let me go help them. I'm like, oh, gotta work on this. So, like, the first day, I was more distracted by trying to, like, help do all the other stuff around than work on it. So, Sunday was like, all right, like, I'll knock this out, like, Sunday. And then Sunday came, I'm like, oh, like, this is a ton of work because these blades are getting chewed up. I feel like if I had like 10 brand new blades, I'm like, all right, let me cut 5 posts and then just put a new blade on. It would have went quicker. But at $50 a blade, I was not trying to spend $500 on blades. So I was trying to make them last. But by the time you get to the last couple you actually cut, it took 10 minutes just to cut one of those legs off. And not what sucks, but now I have a plasma cutter. That would have been sweet to use because it's not noisy. You could just not that fast, but it would have been cool. Von Yinzer, did I make it? Yeah, we're running a little late. I was a little late, but we got talking about all sorts of random stuff. But missed everyone, nonstop issues, and Friday work days. Well, glad you're here. We don't have much longer. We're hour and 16 minutes right now. LRB is going to be going live here soon. I left Ohio the week after we did the roof stuff. First weekend was Bellagio things. Oh yeah, so that's what was going on. So that week, the first week, they were like moving tanks around, and then they took the roof off of their back deck. They used to have that fabric roof. Now it's all enclosed. They used to have that white tarp style roof. Well, they took it off. It's like one big unit, and their deck's really long. Yes, I said deck. So we had I don't know how many people, 20 people, 25 people trying to carry this thing around to the side of the house. And that was a struggle because it's super heavy and it was super awkward. And it's a big tarp. So anytime there was a little bit of wind, it would, make things go nuts. That was a crazy amount of work. And then once we got to the side, we had to get it mounted up on the wall. And it was crazy. We blew up the amp. We did not blow up the amp. The water blew up the amp. So what he's talking about was Friday night or Saturday night, after everybody's gone, Jerry and I were staying the night. So we go down the basement and Big Rich is down there and Josh. I don't know who else, but Big Rich says Jerry can go play the drums in the music room. So they go in there, and I don't know if Jerry turned on the amp or whatever, but their sump pump had stopped working, so they got some water on the floor, and it was soggy, like the carpet was soggy, but it wasn't inches of water. Well, water got to this amp, so I don't know if it was when Jerry turned the amp on, or if it was just already on, but it caught fire. I'm like, oh, and Josh turned it off, and Josh was so afraid to tell Big Rich that his amp caught fire. But soon after, Big Rich came in and turned the amp on, and then it caught fire again while Big Rich was in there trying to play his guitar. Oh my gosh, it was funny. It sucked that Big Rich lost that amp, but it was funny. Zen Ginger. I knew somebody was going to talk about it. Bunyanser said, the chat and chat programs look like everything got changed around. Love the way you can pull the chat messages up into the main screen. Yeah, this is StreamYard. I'm just using this so I can do the extra 2 camera views. Oh gosh, what did I just do? I could pull up but for some reason the quality's super crappy on the extra streams. So this video right here is my iPad, which is it's kind of old. I bought it when I started at Audi because we have to have iPads for training. We have a work one, but it was like really old, and it was shared by Porsche. And when I tried to use it, a Porsche tech logged his iTunes user account in, so I couldn't do anything without his password. So it's like, you know what, F this. I bought an iPad and I wrote it off on my taxes as a work expense. And then now we can't write off work expenses anymore. So that sucks. So now I use it as a camera for here. Anyways, so it's an iPad. So it's got 4K video, but I think it looks like crap. And then this video is actually my cell phone, which I normally use to stream, which also looks like crap. And then this is my webcam, which I think looks okay. But yeah, I like this. You can share your computer screen, which let me. Oh my gosh, I'm breaking this. There we go. Which is about to go super crazy. Or is it like that? But if I have two monitors, then it'd be better. I had two monitors, but I got my video card. Von Yinzer, you haven't been here, so I got my video card. Been waiting like 3 months for it. Finally got it. Oh, I'm rendering. So I got to render the video this week. So the Pond Update video. So the results are in. A 4K video, if it was a 10-minute video on my old graphics card, took 2 to 3 times the time. So if it was 10 minutes, it took anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes to render. The new video card, if it's I did a 10-minute video, it took it under 4 minutes to render. It was super awesome. I was watching the bar just scroll across it, and then it got complete. I was like, this is awesome. So that was awesome. So the new video card, but the problem was, Von Yinzer, is that could you reset the iPad? I think it's just StreamYard, because even my phone doesn't look that great. At least on my screen, it doesn't look great. It looks like really low quality. So I think StreamYard is limiting the quality, because like I know my webcam's set to 720p, and that's the highest resolution I can stream without paying StreamYard, which I don't like, but whatever. So yeah, and just I want to do the multicam like I have here with Streamlabs instead of StreamYard, because then I won't have the quality issue. This is just super easy. Like I can set this up in like 5 minutes and be done. Stephen P 2003, working and lurking. Good to see you. Fun user. So I got 4 tiny baby German blue blushing angels. So I get to see them grow from about a 1/4 inch to an inch to full grown. Really excited about the process. That's awesome. Von Yinzer, since you came in a little late, I'm selling everything. All my fish, all my tanks, all the hard goods. Well, hard goods I've been mentioning for a while now that I'm not restocking. I was going to switch to whatever fish I'm breeding only is selling, but I'm trying to sell my house, so I need to make room and get rid of these tanks. And I don't know when I'll have another fish room, if it's going to be 6 months or a year. So all the standard tanks for sure, like all the 20 longs, I can get 20 longs in the future. But I'm also selling the 200 gallon and the 250 acrylic tanks. Wait, for real? I missed that too. Well, that was the whole point of this live stream. Yeah, I'm selling everything. Even my prized brilliant bristle nose, I'll be selling that breeding group off. I kind of want to keep the tank though. Like I feel like the 55 is small enough that I could put that in storage and keep it for later. But yeah, the other tanks I'll be selling. What have I missed? So you'll want to rewatch this live stream, because I explained everything more. It might be a little bit more boring to watch not live, but rewatch this live stream tomorrow or on a lunch break. Just listen, I guess. Pop some headphones in. So I kind of explain. I'm trying to sell my house and I'll probably end up being like in a condo or apartment or something like that for 6 months or so until I find the correct house I want to buy. I'm trying to buy like an acre or more of land with a house, obviously. Um, so that's going to be a process. And the first step is to downsize everything I got. So, yeah. GRB Aquatics, good to see you. Tail end of the live stream. We're coming up on 1.5 hours. It's a pretty good one. But yeah. I recall months ago you talked about moving a couple months ago. Yeah, so I've been talking about it for like a year. I wanted to move, and I kept like deciding against it just because I was too overwhelmed with the thought of trying to sell the house with all these fish tanks. I was like, I don't know how somebody's going to walk into this house and see all the. It's like, to me, I felt like the crazy cat lady. Like, you walk in a house and there's like 90 cats. That's kind of like how I felt with the fish tanks. So I was like, I need to get rid of the fish tanks. So, yeah. And that would make moving a lot easier, selling the house easier, just everything easier. And then hopefully, I wouldn't mind like if I got a house with a basement, setting a basement up, kind of like Primetime Aquatics, more display tank ish than how I have all the tanks now. The tanks now are maximized for breeding and selling fish. He's moving into a van down by the river. His fish will be in the water. No more house. Fish room. It's going to be a fish land. But yeah, anyways, I'm starting to lose my voice. Like, my throat is starting to really hurt from talking. It's an hour and a half. I don't know how people talk for hours. But anyways, maybe it'd been better if I had coffee. Yeah, so like, luckily I don't have to do anything inside. Maybe repaint some rooms just because of scuffs or whatever, but nothing crazy. My house is very neutral. The whole house is actually like a beigeish color. It was like what was popular like 7, 8 years ago. This is the only house or the only room in my house that's different. I painted this room gray. I like gray. I would prefer that my whole house was gray because I really like gray and white. All the trim and doors in the house are white. I just prefer gray. I think it looks modernish and clean. Everything else is that beigeish color that you kind of, I'm sure you can picture. You can definitely picture. You work at Lowe's. People who work retail can talk for hours. Yeah, I bet so. Detroit Shrimp and Aquatics, good to see you. How's it going? Coffee is good. Yeah, I wish I had some coffee right now. I'm kind of regretting it, but it's too late now. If I had coffee, I'd be up all night, and I gotta get up early tomorrow. So I'm just drinking water, which is almost empty now. It's full of ice, though. I don't know why I always fill this thing full of ice. Or not, well, it's not super full, but 3/4. But it doesn't melt very quick. This thing is awesome. It's Arctic, which is kind of like a knockoff of the Yeti, but like way cheaper. Super awesome. Highly recommend them. For sure. I don't even know if they're still around. I thought they were getting sued by Yeti. I don't know if that's a thing or not, but how's that acrylic next to you? The acrylic tank's doing great. Doing great. One of my favorite tanks. I would prefer like the next house, like having all acrylic tanks. I just like the look of not having the black frame on the tanks. Like, I don't mind black frame tanks, like Aqueon's, like all the tanks in the house, but having frameless, it's super clean. I really like it. Sorry I'm late, no problem, but we are at the end. Shay Fish has dropped LRB's channel. I'm sure he's either live or about to go live. I don't know because my phone is recording the 75-gallon tank. This is my phone out there right now, so I have no idea if he's live. But anyways, it's after 9:30 now. We're at the hour and a half mark. It's a long live stream. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. And Vanyans there, I'm telling you, I'll have to re-listen to all my shenanigans that I was talking about. Super off the walls, talking about welding and moving to Tiffany wants me to move to Tennessee to be near her. I'm pretty sure is what she was saying. Just kidding, Tiffany. But no, I wouldn't mind being in Tennessee. That would be cool, but we'll see. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next Friday. And if buy some fish off my website, please. Thank you very much. Check out the pricing. They did change. Everything's went down, not up, which is always good. And shipping is not $35, it's $25 now. Maybe they'll get cheaper in the future. I don't know. We'll see. But thank you guys so much for hanging out, and I'll see you next week. Yeah, next Friday. Video Sunday. Pond update part 2 Sunday.